There are moments in history when a single life becomes a lesson for the entire world. A story so powerful that
Long ago, in a peaceful land filled with rolling hills, quiet valleys, and villages woven together by streams of clear water, there lived a man whose heart was among the purest ever created. His name was Ayub, known among people for his kindness, his generosity, and his unwavering devotion to Allah. His family lineage traced back to noble prophets, and his character was a reflection of that heritage, humble, patient, and filled with gratitude. Ayub A.S. was blessed with a large family, great wealth, and a reputation so honorable that the people of his region often spoke of him as a model human being. They admired how he used the blessings Allah had given him. He gave to the poor without hesitation, fed orphans as if they were his own children, and greeted every person, rich or poor, with the same gentle smile. His farmlands were vast, stretching across fertile soil that produced abundant crops. His herds of sheep and cattle were healthy and strong, and caravans often passed through his land seeking his guidance and trading with him. He had servants who respected him, neighbors who loved him, and children who adored him, all under a roof filled with peace, love, and contentment. Yet with all these blessings, Ayub A.S. never became arrogant. He never let wealth enter his heart. He never forgot that everything he owned belonged to Allah alone. Many wealthy men of his time sank into pride, but Ayub remained steady. Morning and evening his lips moved in remembrance of Allah. When blessings came, he thanked his Lord. When days passed quietly, he prayed with gratitude. Even angels recognized his sincerity. The heavens knew of Ayub's devotion, his purity, and his gentleness. They spoke of him as an example for mankind. But alongside the admiration came a test ordained by Allah himself, one that would transform Ayub A.S. from a respected man into a symbol of patience for all generations. Allah decreed that Ayub would face trials, deep, life-changing trials, not to punish him but to elevate him. So his test began quietly, like a whisper of wind before a storm. First, his wealth began to disappear. A strange drought hit his lands. Rivers that had flowed for years suddenly dried. Strong winds swept away crops before they could be harvested. Diseases affected his animals and they began to perish. Traders who once depended on him stopped coming. His estates, once alive with activity, became silent and empty. Within a short time, Ayub A.S. lost nearly everything he owned. People around him were shocked. "Is this the same Ayub?" they murmured. Some wondered if he had secretly done something wrong. Others tried to distance themselves, fearing that his misfortune might affect them too. But Ayub remained the same man he always had been, grateful and patient. On the night he lost the last of his herds, he sat beneath the sky, looked up at the stars, and simply whispered, "O Allah, you are the owner of all things. You give and you take, and I am your servant." But his test was far from over. Soon after the loss of his wealth, tragedy struck his family. One by one, his children fell ill. They were once full of life, running through fields, laughing in the courtyard, and filling the home with joy. But now the house grew quiet, heavy with sorrow. Every parent knows that losing a child is the deepest pain one can experience. Ayub A.S. faced this pain not once but repeatedly. His heart broke again and again as he buried his beloved children with his own hands. Yet even in those darkest moments, he did not allow despair to overcome him. He cried because he was human. But he never questioned the wisdom of Allah. He never uttered a word of complaint. Instead, he said, "To Allah belongs what he gives, and to him returns what he takes." People around him looked with disbelief. Many could not understand how a man could endure so much and still stand. Some began to whisper that Ayub must have been cursed. Others openly insulted him, saying that Allah must be displeased with him. But Ayub A.S. knew that Allah tests those he loves the most. So he stayed firm and reminded his heart that hardship is temporary but faith is eternal. Then the hardest test arrived. Ayub A.S. fell gravely ill. His illness was unlike anything people in his community had ever seen. It slowly weakened his body, his bones, his muscles, and his strength. His appearance changed so drastically that some people avoided him out of fear. His relatives, one after another, abandoned him. Friends who had praised him during days of prosperity now left him alone, ashamed to be seen with a man who had lost wealth, children, and health. But Ayub A.S. did not blame them. He did not blame anyone. He only remembered Allah. And there was one person who remained by his side with unwavering devotion, his wife. She was a woman of immense faith and loyalty. When everyone left, she stayed. When people mocked her for supporting a sick man, she remained patient. She cleaned his wounds, prepared simple meals, spoke gently to him, and reminded him of Allah's mercy. Day after day, she took care of him with love and dignity. When food became scarce, she worked outside the home to earn what little she could. Some nights she slept hungry so that Ayub A.S. could eat. Years passed like this. Not days, not months, years. His illness persisted. His body grew weaker, yet his heart remained strong. Every morning his first words were in remembrance of Allah. Every night he fell asleep whispering dua. People had forgotten him, but he knew that Allah never forgets his servants. As the years went by, his wife grew tired, not of caring for him, but of seeing him suffer. She saw him once strong, healthy, and respected, and now she watched him lying on a simple bed, frail and thin. One day, with tears in her eyes, she came to him and said softly, "O Ayub, you have been patient for so long. You have endured years of illness, loss, and pain. Why not ask Allah to remove this suffering? He is merciful. He will answer your prayer." Ayub A.S. looked at her with kindness and replied with a calm voice, "My dear wife, Allah blessed me for 70 years with good health, wealth, and happiness. Should I not be patient for him during these few years of hardship?" His words melted her heart. She realized again why Allah loved him so much. Still, as time went on, her difficulties increased. She was forced to accept smaller and smaller tasks from people who barely paid her. Some even mocked her by saying, "Your husband was once wealthy, now look at him." But she endured all of this with patience because of her faith and love for her husband. One day, Ayub A.S. saw her exhaustion. Her hands were rough, her face tired, her body weak from working constantly. He realized that although he was strong enough to endure his own suffering, he could not bear seeing her struggle endlessly. So he raised his hands gently and made a dua, not out of complaint but out of humility and love. He said, "Indeed, adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful." This dua was short, simple, and full of devotion. He did not beg for the test to end. He did not demand any blessing. He simply acknowledged his pain and affirmed Allah's mercy. That moment the heavens responded. Allah accepted his dua and spoke to him with divine mercy. "Strike the ground with your foot." Ayub obeyed immediately. Though weak, he managed to move his foot and strike the earth, and then a miracle occurred. From the ground a spring of water burst forth, pure, cold, and sparkling as if touched by light from the heavens. Allah commanded him to wash himself with the water and drink from it. Ayub A.S. scooped the water in his hands and washed his body. Instantly the illness that had tormented him for years began to vanish. His pain disappeared. His skin healed. His strength returned. Then he drank from the water. Warmth spread through his body, filling him with renewed life. Within moments he was transformed, his youth restored, his body strong, his face glowing with health. Meanwhile, his wife returned home from work, carrying a small amount of food she had managed to earn. She entered the place where she had left her sick husband, but she did not see him. Instead, she saw a strong, healthy man standing there. For a moment she was frightened, thinking a stranger had come into their home. She asked, "Have you seen a sick man here? My husband, I left him here." The man smiled gently and said, "It is me." She stared in disbelief. His illness was completely gone. His skin was smooth. His eyes were bright. He looked younger than the day she had married him. Tears filled her eyes as she realized that Allah had answered their prayers. She embraced him with joy, thanking Allah again and again for his mercy. But Allah's generosity did not end there. Soon, Ayub's lands began to flourish again. Rain returned, crops grew, animals multiplied. Allah restored his wealth, not equal to what he had before, but double. He blessed Ayub and his wife with new children, filling their home once more with laughter, life, and warmth. The same people who had abandoned him now came back, humbled and amazed by the miracle Allah had granted his servant. But Ayub A.S. did not become proud. Even with renewed blessings, he lived simply. He remembered his years of hardship and never forgot the lessons they had taught him, the importance of gratitude, humility, and trust in Allah. His story spread across villages, cities, and lands. People came from far away to hear his wisdom. They asked him how he endured so much suffering. Ayub would smile and say, "When a servant truly knows Allah, he knows that every hardship carries mercy within it." Patience is not to wait silently, but to trust that Allah's plan is always better than our own. Until the last day of his life, Ayub A.S. remained a shining example of unwavering faith. He taught people that trials do not mean Allah is angry. Sometimes they are signs that Allah wants to elevate the believer higher than he could ever reach on his own. Today, his name is remembered across the world as the man who never lost hope, never complained, and never doubted the mercy of his Creator. His story is a reminder that no matter how dark life becomes, Allah's light is always near. No matter how heavy the test feels, Allah's mercy is greater. And no matter how painful the journey, the end for the patient ones is always beautiful. Ayub A.S. is the living proof that when we place our trust in Allah, miracles happen, even from the ground beneath our feet.